Hello friends, welcome back in my new video, and in this video I'm going to discuss the jumbo cue card. And in this jumbo cue card I have prepared 10 topics. 10 in one cue card means now you need not to prepare 10 different stories for the cue card. By preparing just one story you can speak on the 10 cue cards, and in that way you can speak completely for 2 minutes, in fact more than that, without taking pauses, and you can score 7 band, 8 band, whatever your requirement is, right? So accordingly you can score. So without wasting much time, let's start with the topic. So here I have the list of 10 cue cards that I have prepared for today's video, right? So we'll start. The first topic is talk about something that you borrowed from your friend. So whatever, like what is the article that you borrowed from your friend, why and all, everything is there. The second is talk about a newly built public facility. So what the public facility is and how it has improved the local life. The third topic, a time when you traveled by public transport. So where did you go, why did you choose public transport? An incident when you were sleepy but had to stay awake. So what was actually the situation that you felt sleepy, but what was again the reason that you were not allowed to sleep? You had to stay awake. Why? So it is again discussed in this topic. Then an interesting conversation, a place you visited that has been affected by pollution. So which is the place that you visit, when did you visit it, and why do you think it has a lot of pollution? Describe a place when you got lost in a place you didn't know well, you got lost. Program or app in your mobile phone. Describe your idea of a dream home or a perfect home and a dinner you really enjoyed. So all these topics are the latest cue card list. So I thought of preparing a jumbo one so that you can really feel better and get confident to taking your exam as quickly as possible, right? So let's start with the answer now. This is an introduction that I have taken, so I just try to take a common one so that you can use the same introduction for majority of the topics instead of thinking a new one every time. So the top introduction is life is a mixed bag of experiences. Mixed bag means sometimes we have a good experience, sometimes we have a bad experience also, right? So this is a mixed bag of experiences. I never hesitate to face any difficulty or challenge in my life. Never hesitate means I'm never reluctant. I'm never reluctant, or I'm never unwilling to take up any challenge. Whatever the arduous task is, I am always game to take it, to accept it. Arduous means difficult, and I'm always game means I'm always ready to take up the challenge. So here I'm just going to start a story. I vividly remember it was December 2018. Right. So in December 2018, one of my childhood friends, obviously I have a lot of childhood friends, but I'm just talking about one out of that who is staying in Delhi now. Earlier obviously we studied together. In the childhood he was staying in my hometown only, and we studied in the same school. So we completed our schooling together. So Delhi, and he's going to organize a housewarming party. So he just called me up and he invited me for his housewarming party, since they have purchased a new house recently at that time, and we both have been close to each other, though it's been like a couple of years. He shifted to Delhi, but then also we were quite close to each other, and we were in touch through calls on like WhatsApp messages and all. So we were constantly in touch with. So he relocated to Delhi a couple of years ago, right? So this was the story that when it happened in December 2018. When you give a specific details to the examiner that when did it happen, generally like it was you like the very first is you start all of a sudden it happened, but the question is when. When means it is a good idea to give a precise information, December 2018. Okay, so it looks quite realistic also, and it's going to impress the examiner the way you are speaking. So as soon as I got the invitation to visit, right, as I mentioned, it is my best friend. So he's my best friend means I was very eager, I was excited and curious to visit his place. So as soon as I got the invitation to visit, I started my preparation all of a sudden, and since it was December means winters were going on, and without jacket I could not think of moving ahead. And when I was packing my bag, when I was packing my luggage, all of a sudden I realized that my jacket was very dirty and it needed to get it dry cleaned. Obviously I was going to attend a function over there, going to attend a party, so with so many people, so many relatives all around, like his relatives, obviously I cannot look good or tidy in a dirty or meshy jacket. Okay, so obviously, so all of a sudden I remembered my neighbor Praveen. He had a leather jacket. He had a leather jacket that he bought last month only, like he bought 1 month ago. So I just remember he had it, and now the thing is that we both shared good chemistry with each other. Good chemistry. Chemistry means understanding, harmony. We have a mutual understanding, so we keep on exchanging things from each other. Whenever he needs something, he always comes up to me for help, and if I need anything, I usually visit his place for the same. So good, instead of good, it is like excellent, fabulous, fantastic chemistry, and we used to borrow things from each other. So I thought of visiting his place, visiting his house to borrow his jacket, and his jacket was of brown color, which is made of fine leather. It was quite warm. When I wore it, it was quite warm, and it was sufficient enough to save me from cold. And like Delhi, the winters of Delhi is quite famous. It's quite chilling cold there, like bone freezing cold. So, and I was visiting there for the very first time, so I was a little bit scared about the weather. Scared or apprehensive? Apprehensive having the same meaning. Okay, so when I wore it, I was looking handsome, or I was looking stunning. So handsome is a simple word. Instead of handsome, you can say stunning. I was looking stunning. So this is all about when I borrowed something from someone. Okay, so when I packed my luggage, I took the jacket also, and after that I headed towards my journey. I plan to travel by bus. Now why I plan to travel by bus or public transport? Because the very first is it is affordable or pocket friendly. We need not to pay a lot of money for the public transport. So I reached to the bus stand. Obviously I wanted to catch the bus, so I reached to the bus stand, and that is a newly built in my hometown, and I got open mouthed or awestruck. Open mouthed or awestruck means quite surprised when I saw that. So when you say the thing was really beautiful, that much of beautiful that you forget everything around. So that was mesmerized, hypnotized, awestruck, open mouthed. So these are the words that you can use. So I got open mouthed or awestruck because it was looking like some international airport. I didn't feel that I am at a bus, I was at a bus stand. I felt I have reached some international airport. It was fully air conditioned, well designed, and out of my mind. Out of my mind means I could never imagine bus stand to be like that. And earlier my town has a very small bus stand. Very small means it was not that much big. It was a very small, situated at just a side of the road. Okay, so the bus stand, it was quite small, so buses generally stop on the road. Since like there was no much of space buses to go inside the bus stand, so it used to be stopping at the road only, and there was like umpteen problems that my city people, my city residents used to be facing. Umpteen means many. So they used to be facing a lot of problems at that time. Traffic congestion was one of that problem. Traffic congestion means traffic jam. That was the biggest trouble. And another thing is that in rainy season the problems got multiplied. Why? Because there was inadequate shed to escape people from from raining. Inadequate means not sufficient, not enough, right? So there was not enough shed also, so people can escape themselves from rain. However, after that new bus stand, the lifestyle of people, the life of people has changed completely. Now they cannot face, like they are not going to face any kind of problem, since all problems got solved automatically. So the problem of traffic congestion, problem of might be like accidents happening all of a sudden, then the raining, then the scorching heat, freezing cold, all of the problems that the city residents were facing earlier got solved automatically. Okay, so this is the public facility that have improved the lifestyle of people in my hometown. Okay, then since I reached there, I purchased a ticket of the Volvo bus. I wanted to go to Delhi to my friend's house for the house warming party. And it was the very first time that I was traveling alone, because earlier whenever I traveled with my parents or with other my family members, but this time since I was going to visit my friend's house, so I was traveling all alone. I was comfortable, that is okay, like the bus was comfortable. When I got into the bus, I felt like everything inside the bus was quite comfortable. But however, what happened, like after some time I started feeling bored, because I'm not a kind of person who always stay glued to the mobile phone. I like to check my mobile, but quite frequently, like not quite frequently. So I don't stick to my mobile for listening to music, for playing games and all. I generally use my mobile for calling. So since I was sitting all alone there, I started feeling bored, and I thought of having something like how could I enjoy my time. So I started talking. There was an old person who was sitting next to me, so I broke the ice. Broke the ice means I started the conversations. I started talking first. So we started talking, and just after a few minutes we started talking like we both have been the childhood friends. So he was quite friendly, he was quite familiar person. I didn't find that I'm talking to some stranger. He was also going to Delhi, but why he was going? Because he wanted to catch his flight for Canada. He told me that his son is living in Canada, right? So obviously he was going over there. He has visited Canada earlier also, like he visited Canada a couple of times earlier, 2-3 times earlier. So he told me so many things about it. So when I heard that he is going to Canada and he has been there earlier also, so I thought of asking so many questions, because I have never come across a person so close, so that I could like come out my curiosity. So I had many questions, and surprisingly he answered all of my questions patiently. So he answered all my questions patiently. Patiently means without getting nervous or without getting irritated. The conversations had many turns, so it keeps on turning. The conversations kept on turning from students' perspective. Then we talked about climatic conditions. Then we talked about culture of people in Canada, then career prospects. So there were so many things we kept on talking that time passed swiftly, and we didn't realize that how the 3 hours in fact have passed. And after that, bus stopped somewhere. There was a small restaurant, so it stopped so that people could relax themselves. If they want to have something like tea, coffee, they could take it. So I also brought tea and cookies for both of us, and we started talking again, and it was a non-stop talking. We kept on talking about so many things, right? So I was feeling like I'm having someone who is very close to my heart, who is sharing his heart out, was sharing the knowledge with me. And after the journey, I felt little more knowledgeable, because before that travel, I was having no knowledge, absolutely nothing about Canada. But after that, I have accumulated enough information. And overall, that was an amazing experience to have conversation with that person, and in fact to have a chance to get an opportunity to meet such a wonderful person. So we exchanged our contact numbers also, so that we could in touch. Like in fact today also I keep in touch with him. So whenever I get a chance, might be once in a year or like twice in a year, I always try to see him personally. Okay, so once like the travel was over and I reached Delhi. As soon as I reached Delhi, I started feeling suffocated. Why? Because it was a place that has a lot of pollution. It is affected by pollution. So I really felt suffocated, and for a second I started cursing myself, like why did I take the decision to come over here, since I have heard a lot about that metro city, about pollution and all, right? But I ignored everything, because as soon as I got a call from my friend for the party, for the invitation, so I started having all the positive vibrations, and I quickly made a plan to rush there. So there was quite all like smoke in the air, and the smoke was so dense that I could not see the sky, the clear sky. And what if I talk about myself, since I belong to a small village, I'm living in a countryside area, and the situation in Delhi was absolutely different. Whatever I could see endless cars. There is a long lane of cars, traffic signals. So wherever the traffic signal is, over there is the traffic. There was a traffic congestion, and it made me feel pathetic and pitiable for myself, like why I'm here. I started feeling that, and the noise of honking horns, it felt like it's going to make me deafening, right? Might be that once I'll out of that, I will not hear anything. Okay, and the exhaust fumes, because of that exhaust fume that were emitted from the cars, from buses, it made very difficult for me to breathe. I wasn't able to breathe nicely. Okay, so this is how I explained the scenario of a place which is affected by pollution. So obviously Delhi is the best example for that, since there is a lot of pollution, density of cars, density of people, so many things, right? So this is all you can explain, the air pollution, noise pollution, everything you can explain here. Then later on, since I wanted to give a surprise to my friend, obviously he was knowing that I was coming over there to attend the party, but he wasn't aware about the time, what time I'll be reaching there. Okay, so out of that, just wanted to give a surprise, so I hired an auto, and auto driver demanded for 500 rupees. So that was okay. I agreed immediately. Okay, I'll pay that 500 rupees, and I sat inside the auto. I sat in the auto, right? So during the journey, during that auto travel, I was peeping through. So I was just looking what is happening all around, and whatever I could see, I could only see bumper to bumper traffic. So bumper to bumper traffic means there was a lot of traffic there, and it felt like the auto was not even moving an inch, that it was there only where I sat. So after 1 hour, the auto driver told me that I have reached the destination. So I got off and I paid him the money. Since I have reached my destination, so I paid him. And out of excitement, I was so much excited that I have reached there, I'm going to see my friends, I'm going to see my friend's house. I was so much exhilarated, I was so much like felt over the moon, that I didn't confirm where am I. So without confirming the place, I paid him the money and he went away. Then as soon as I got into my senses, right, so I start searching for his house number, and quite my shock, I didn't find his house number, because what I thought, he must have dropped me in front of my house, in front of my friend's house, because I have told him the entire address, this is the place I want to go, and whatever he demanded 500 rupees from me, I paid him 500 rupees. So what the thing that I got, I simply thought he will be dropping me off in front of my friend's house. No, that was not the case. I couldn't find his home, and I was absolutely wrong. I tried my best to locate his house, if I could get it right. I tried my best. So I took help from a few local people also, but all in vain. In vain means everything got wasted. Nobody could locate his house. So I felt exhausted, I felt tired. So finally I decided to call my friend only. So I called him up and I told him all the story and all. So he came over here and he picked me up. So as soon as I entered into his house, I felt like I have entered into heaven. So this situation, the very first, okay, this situation was an incident when I got lost. I got lost because that was a new place. I just tried to search the house of my friend, but I didn't get it. I took help of a few local people, but no. So finally my friend came over there and he picked me up. He picked me up. So now it is about house, perfect house. So as soon as I entered into his house, it felt like I entered into heaven. It was a huge house, a massive one. That was a duplex house, 5 bedrooms, attached bathroom, separate guest room, modular kitchen, well equipped gym. And because my friend was a fitness freak, so he was having a well equipped gym also. So there are so many facilities like that that are related to his house. Okay, so regarding his house, it was having actually all different kind of things that one could have in one's house. So not to mention, it was having a lush green garden, and that garden has plants with several colorful flowers. So a very sweet fragrance was coming out of the garden itself. And the special room, there was a special room for worship, like they have constructed a special puja room where they could go to pay their obeisance to Almighty. And the entire house was well decorated with flowers and lights, since that was the housewarming ceremony that they were having. So they have decorated the entire house, and the entire house was looking so gorgeous, elegant, that I cannot describe. And obviously I was mesmerized when I saw this house, and I thought it is just like my dream house. So earlier, like, I didn't have any kind of tangible shape or the tangible image of my dream house, but once I watched that house, I decided immediately by myself that that is the house I'll be having in future for myself and for my family members, right? That is a perfect one that I have seen in my life, and will be having the same for in future for myself. Okay, so when the ceremony was over, almost all of his relatives returned to their respective cities. So only a few people were left, and I was one among all. And in the evening, so we all enjoyed dinner together. We were like there on the dinner table. Only a few people were there, like his family member, 1 or 2 relatives, and I was there, right? So with all the family members, his mother prepared the food by herself only. So she prepared rajma rice, shahi paneer, stuffed bhindi with raita. Okay, so that was not a kind of like lavish meal or very kind of like a buffet one and all, because it was prepared at home. But the way like she has prepared, I must say it was mouth watering, right? I felt like my mother has prepared the same, so I felt the touch of my mother's hand in that. And it was so nicely cooked, it was so hygienic, it was so delicious, like mouth watering, palatable. I enjoyed full. So, and I took the dinner together like with all other family members, and her mother was very caring. She was asking me again and again if I wanted to have, so I shouldn't feel like shy, and I should eat whatever I like, how much I like, I could. And my friend, he was also cracked joke in between to make the ambience cheerful and delighted. So obviously all the environment filled with a lot of laughter, a hearty laughter from everybody. So everybody was delighted, like me also. Then I relished means enjoyed. I enjoyed rice pudding, ice cream and coffee finally, right? So there was no need to have anything else. I felt that I have taken sufficient, and I have taken that much that now there is no need to take for another week. Like for 1 week I need not to have anything, I have taken that much. So this was the feeling I was having at that time. So I must say that as was the most satisfying, the most sumptuous dinner ever, that I could never forget in my life, since everybody except him, everybody was a stranger for me earlier, but then also I felt so much comfortable with all such people. I felt like I'm just sitting among all of my family members only. Okay, then obviously then once the dinner was over and all, everything went to their bedroom. I shared my friend's room with him. So when we were there, like when we both were there at that time, I got chance and I shared that auto driver incident with him. Then he suggested me that why shouldn't I installed an app named Uber. Okay, so he suggested me to install that Uber app in my mobile phone to book a cab. Why? Because booking a cab is quite convenient and cheaper and safe as well. So when I narrated what happened with that auto driver, he cheated me. So obviously you can just talk about someone who cheated you. So that auto driver cheated me. He took a huge amount of money that is actually not needed, as my friend told me that instead of paying 500 you should have paid him only 250 rupees. So he charged double from me, but then also he didn't drop me at my location. So my friend suggested me I should install that Uber app. I installed it. Booking a cab is quite easy. Traveling in a cab is quite safe, comfortable, convenient. So it was just like a win-win situation. So I was quite surprised by hearing, okay, these are the kind of app I was never aware of, since I belong to countryside and there was not need of any kind of applications like that. So he helped me to install that app in my mobile phone, and I started using it after that. Whenever I go out of my countryside these days, I prefer to use that app. I always have that my friend words in my mind, and that was always use a cab, don't use an auto. Okay, so next day, like everything, the function was over and obviously I have to go back to my hometown. So next day when I was going back, so at that time, when on my way back to my hometown, I got a notification message on my mobile, and the message was about a reminder to the deadline of my project submission. And I got shocked, literally. How could I forgot that important project? That was an important project for my final exams, and it was just out of my mind that the submission date was tomorrow morning at that time, right? And I was really shocked, and I forgot all the pleasure of that party, of that incident, everything I forgot immediately. I just wanted to reach home as soon as I could, right? But yes, I know that obviously it will take its time. The bus was moving at its speed, right? I cannot ask the bus driver to fly it. So obviously whatever the time it would take, I was quite anxious throughout the way. So as soon as I reached home, I started to work. I didn't talk to my family members. I didn't tell the story. I didn't share my happiness with them. All of a sudden, I started working on my project. I could not sleep last night since I was with my friend throughout the day and night also, and we were sharing so many things, and also we kept on talking throughout the night, right? So obviously since I didn't get a chance to sleep last night, I was feeling sleepy like anything. I was tired, I was sleepy, I wanted to sleep, right? But no, I could not. So I had no other option. I couldn't sleep, right? I have to stay awake. Why? Because obviously I have to complete my project. Finally, after a lot of hard work, I completed my project at 4 o'clock in the morning. So after completed my project, I thought, okay, I took a sigh of relief. Means I felt a little comfortable that, oh God, finally it is over. My project is ready now. And I thought of sleeping for 2 hours, and I asked my mother, I woke her up, and I requested her that if she can make me wake up after 2 hours, because I needed to get ready and reach to my college. So I slept for 2 hours because after that I had to go to submit it. So that was the time when I was feeling sleeping like anything, but I had to stay awake. Why? Because I had to submit my project the next morning. So I explained the reason why I was feeling sleepy, because I could not sleep the last night. I was attending the party. I was cherishing the memories with my friend. So somehow it was happy moment for me. It was a gala day, but the next day was like something different for me, right? So that is why we say that the life is a mixed bag of experiences. So I hope all of these 10 cue cards are prepared with you now. I don't think so it is very difficult, because I tried to keep it quite simple. Somewhere I used vocabulary words, because vocabulary words are important to get good scores. Okay, so if you need a PDF and all, I always try my best to share the PDF with you. So if you need the PDF of that, obviously you can comment down in the comment section. I'll be sharing the PDF, and don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends so that they can also enjoy, they can also get the benefit of these cue cards, right? So all the best, keep learning.